Howdy. Today I'm finally gonna build some overhead shelves for this new workbench I made like last week. I bought a handful of 2x4s to make the main tall legs of it, but the rest of it's gonna be entirely scrap wood, so we're gonna kind of bodge some things together. I didn't want to have to pause filming to wait for things to dry, so I already stained these boards and did some dry brushing with white paint. To get this look on the main workbench, I'd completely painted everything white and then sanded through it, but I was able to get some pretty similar results by not fully loading the paintbrush. Less paint used, less dust generated this way. So the first step of this, I guess, is just sticking these 8-footers on the sides. I want it to be set back, like halfway, maybe a 18-inch shelf depth, because the main use cases of these shelves are going to be setting a couple sewing machines back there, maybe a plant or something. In any case, I don't have to make any decisions about shelf height yet, I just have to get these mounted. What I usually do for these, because I've built a couple shelves like this before, the screws attaching the brace to the leg are on top left and bottom right, so that way when I put this new shelf leg over it, I know I'm clear to do bottom left and top right, and I won't hit any of my previous screws. For the front leg of the shelf that's going to be 18 inches forward, I'm not running into anything, so I don't have to worry about it. Only sink one screw there and then measure the top to make sure it's straight. So it's got to come over a bit, right about there. Then I can fix it in place. Then same thing on the other side. I would just go off the walls to determine level, but they're not straight in this house. Alright, that will be our shelves. Now that I have that, it's important to actually check that this is what I want before I get too deep into it. That doesn't feel too closed off walking into the room. So now the way I do this is basically just build another tabletop right there in the middle. I could get away with just probably putting a piece of plywood in there or something, but I like to fully frame it up because as you can see, these boards are splayed out, so this will also function as structure to keep everything square. Now, I don't actually have enough 5-foot boards to do this. I have a grand total of 1. The other ones I thought I had were all warped too bad. So I'm gonna have to splice something together using shorter pieces. Got this guy that's 3'8", and then I think these shorter ones are what I was gonna use. Yeah, so adding those together with a little overlap gets me 5 feet. Then I need 18 minus 1.5 minus 1.5, that's 15. I have one random piece of scrap that's already 15, probably from an 18-inch desk I built at some point in the past. See, this is why scraps from old projects are so awesome. This is already the right length for a brace of an 18-inch desk. This one already has 2 screw holes perfectly positioned for another 2x4. It's basically like assembling an IKEA kit. Everything's already done for me. Then this side's gonna need another 15-inch minus another 1.5 for this splice, so 13.5. That'll do the trick. And again, we've got screw holes right here. Very nice. This whole board has a twist out that way. I'm just gonna force it in like this to keep it in shape for now. We'll just see how straight it is once it's all together, I guess. But you know what, at the end of the day, I'm less picky about my shelves being flat than I am about the work surfaces. How flat is it? Not bad, actually. Just has to hold up a sewing machine at the end of the day. I think the tallest thing on this surface, honestly, is going to be that plant. I want to give it a little room to grow. I'm just going to mark it at 30. I can always change it. So let's just get this fella up there. I'm going to put a temporary 2x4 there just to help hold it up. This is always kind of tough to do solo, but once you get things generally clamped up, then you can just go back and forth and adjust it into the right place. Something I haven't thought about yet is what's the actual surface for this. Since it's just storage, I don't need it to be plywood. I could use like fence boards or something similar if I have to. I think I have a piece that'll do though. My old standing desk, I believe, was 18 inches. Yep. So that works, although it's a little shy here. It actually would have been long enough, but that's the piece of wood I took my phone back from. That's goofy, so my phone is what's gonna be this shelf. I do also need 2 of these, one for the next tier. I'm wondering if that old art piece from the piano would fit. Let's see, how does this square up? Too short in both dimensions. Not by a lot, though. It could work. What's the best place to put this so I can actually still see the mural on it? I feel like this should go upside down as the higher one, because then you can still see it when you're sat down. Yeah, that'll be the plan. So I'll just get this one tapped in right here, And I got a bunch of screw holes in this already too, that's handy. And I'm not gonna worry about this gap over here right now. I'll just throw something in there when a piece of scrap comes along my way that fits. I'm excited about this. I have a place to mount some lights now. It's not gonna be so dark back here. I'll get to that in a second. First, I need to make the second tier of shelves. Exact same process, but this time we're splicing on the front and the back board. Don't even gotta match, it's just gotta be sturdy. So then I'll need a 15-inch and this time a 12-inch. I am gonna harvest something from this longer board. I almost got tricked into using this one, but it's really warped. It's straight from here to here, and then at this point it kind of curves off that way. So what I'll usually do with stuff like this is just mark the spot where it's most warped, and then I can cut it there, and this is a pretty usable board, and this is pretty usable. Yeah, that section's straight enough. So that bit can go over here, and then we'll take a good 12-inch section out of it. That goes on this side, and we're all squared up. And my coffee mug is full of sawdust now. That's okay, it's just extra flavor. Alright, seems good enough to me. How high should this one go? Nice, this one's actually friction fitting. That makes it a lot easier. I guess the first shelf kind of pulled everything together, and now we're actually kind of where we need to be. So the height of this is somewhat determined by the height of the sewing machines. Embroidery machine is taller, so we'll go off of that. I also have a serger in the basement that might be taller. Yeah, maybe a little bit. So I think that height plus a little for clearance will be good. We're at 13 on the bottom and 16 on the top. I think it makes more sense for the lower one to be taller, so we'll go 15-inch. Sweet, that's a shelf. Looks level from my house. And this can go up there. I probably should have done this part while it was on the ground so I don't have to be up here squeezed in, but we get the job done. So I was able to tap it in all the way around on this skinnier section and then all the way across on the back board. But this front board, it doesn't reach, and it doesn't reach all the way over to this left side. So I'm just gonna cut another brace to fit right there so it doesn't wobble around. Just like that. I guess I can't really get around to the back to sink a screw in this way. I'll be lazy and do a pocket hole. That'll do. If you're wondering why I leave this extra bit on top of the shelves, that's so I can add a third tier of shelves when I move somewhere that has higher ceilings, or so I can put a beam across there and mount lights at the ceiling line, but for now it does nothing. Let's get some machines put up in their new homes. My hand crank leather sewing machine needs a spot, but this thing's actually kind of useless if it's not hard mounted, because obviously you have to put force on it. I think the only place that would make sense for it is right here. This part has to be jutting out from the table surface because it's supposed to be able to like work on boots, shoes, that kind of stuff. I'm gonna give it a little base. This way I can mount it to the desk easier by tapping screws down through rather than up through the bottom. And then I'll mount it up here for now and adjust later. Then at a later date, it's gonna get a whole set of cabinets back here, but what this is begging for at this moment is some lighting. To start it off, I have a cheap hardware store bar light. This I think can just go here as a fill. That's a lot of light. It's cooler light than I would have liked. I try to keep everything warm in here. Pretty harsh shadows. Maybe I mount it back like that. I usually hard mount everything, but in this case, I'm gonna go with double-sided tape. And if it falls down, then I'll send some screws through it. Right about there. And I've got a little cable management hole here. That was definitely intended. Now we got the warm desk and the cool desk. I'll probably change this later, but that's what I have for now. Oh wait, actually no, I have something else. This is bicolor, actual video light. Where does he go? Like up here? This could actually be great because it would light up this desk and the vise that's usually darker. It's nice to have everything consistent when I'm filming, but it needs to be a bit closer to the wall and higher up. Oh, while I was outside, my light fell down already. I'm gonna point it backwards after all, so it's less harsh. I chopped the end off this light stand, just like the last 2 or 3 inches, which does mean that the stoppers aren't on it anymore, so if I unscrew this and extend it, it can come all the way out, but that's fine, I'm never gonna extend it that far anyway. So I just need some little blocks for it to mount to. I'm just gonna use 2x4 scraps and put a hole through them. I think it's 1 inch. Nice. And they are aligned on this side. Just marking that in case I ever move them. Do they fit? Yeah, not actually as tight as I would have wanted. How's that? Yeah, much better. Like that, and like that. And then that whole mess goes as high up as possible. All right, how does this look? Not quite as much as I was hoping, but it adds something. Let me brainstorm for a second. Okay, new plan, watch this. This brace comes off, cut a new piece at 14 1/4. Oh, whoops, 17 3/4. I should just take this whole thing down to modify it. Shorten it by a 2x4's width so this thing actually fits. And we can stick it back together. And then cut off the excess at the end. Now, this shelf can get 2 legs on it. And then it goes back up here where it was before. This was kind of a crazy tangent because I was talking about lighting. But anyway, the idea was I can put my plant up here to buy me more space on the workbench. My plan was to take one of these purple grow lights for plants and put it on this cute little arm lamp that I found at Goodwill. But I didn't check and it's actually the wrong type of light socket, so that won't work without modifications. That'll have to wait for another day. I have this cheap LED light, that's kind of pathetic. I've got this USB powered sunlight lamp. Well, that's kind of cool. Maybe that can go here for now and light up the plant a little bit. Oh, and actually I have that ring light. This thing that I found in the literal garbage the other day. I haven't tested it indoors yet. I think it's not going to be very good. Oh, rainbow mode. Oh, cop lights. Is it just one big circular LED strip on the inside, or is it 2? It's 4, I think. How many volts is this? USB input 5 volt 2 amps. Okay, I'm not worried about that. Wow, look at those lens flares though. That looks crazy. And will it run with only half plugged in? Yeah. Could I do 3 even? Yeah, I could. It just doesn't fit with the full ring. I'll just throw some double-sided tape on it and we'll have that there until I find something better. That's fun actually, because it's centered right around the UFO. It looks like it's beaming somebody up or something. As goofy as it is, that actually kind of works. I'll probably use this top space for something functional later, but for now, I'm gonna throw my broadcast cameras up there just because they need somewhere to go, and it looks cool. This does not look too bad considering I haven't spent any extra money on lights yet. This light directly illuminating that white wall is not good. Doesn't really fit in. The plan is to do a whole wall of cabinets here at some point. So for now, I'm just gonna kind of darken that up by putting an extra piece of wood back here. This is my be right back sign from my streams. Wait, what if I throw some of the cabin wood paneled walls back there? That would actually look awesome. Yes, that is what I need. Need a little bit of clearance behind the wall. That brings back the warm tone that it needed. And I got another little strip to fill that gap. This changes the whole picture, dude. Why on earth did we stop doing wood-paneled walls? Holy cow. It makes the green of the plants pop. I got cable management to do, but that's for another day. That made such a big improvement in so little effort. Now I kind of want to do wood paneling over there too. And in the closet, and everywhere. If only I owned the house. For once, I kind of feel like I have a whole built-out studio. It's kind of wild, actually. I feel like I built a workbench in my parents' basement during COVID when I left college, and then I blinked, and now my bedroom looks like this. I know I'm derailing from the original topic of this video and getting all sentimental, but I don't know. It just struck me seeing all this right now. It's kind of too easy to forget the progress you've made, you know? I very much feel like I'm still getting a lot of stuff figured out. I'm barely started in my grand scheme roadmap of what I want to do with my career in whatever it is I'm doing right now. I'm so early in it. I expected maybe a couple hundred people would be watching at this point. At what point is it not experimentation and it's just actually the real thing? I don't know. But I tell you what, it's starting to feel like the real thing, man. The studio's coming together. I feel like I, for the most part, have tools and cameras that work. It actually looks like I'm set to make more than minimum wage this month. Only 2 years ago or something, I was spending 2-3 months on a video about putting friggin' caster wheels on a chair. I feel actually good at what I'm doing. For once, I guess. Even if the projects themselves are still really raw and stupid and executed poorly a lot of times. It's like, I'm making a video every day. This exact project and video would have taken me weeks to months to make a couple years ago. That's not very long ago. I don't know. I'm just taking a little moment to be proud, I guess. It's not something that most of us do often enough. Anyway, much to do, as always. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can donate or become a member at evanmonsma.com. I appreciate greatly all the supporters. You're helping me live the dream of just being able to make crap that inspires people, gets people to try something new. But that is it for today. Thank you for your time, and I will see you tomorrow.